Good evening. I'd like to call to order this meeting, this special meeting of the Urbana City Council for Monday, November 21st, 2022. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Wu.
Here.
Mr. Evans.
Here.
Ms. Hersey.
Here.
Ms. Colasetti.
Here.
Ms. Bishop.
Here.
Ms. Wilkin.
Here.
Mr. Quisenberry.
Here.
Mayor Marlin.
Here. Next item is approval of minutes from the meeting of October 10th, 2022. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mary Alice, seconded by Sharice. Are there any substantial corrections? Grace.
Thank you. There's just a small one I talked to Darcy about on page 4, item 4, the EDC agreement, to just note that there was a change in the amount by staff at that meeting.
Change in the amount. All right, we'll verify that one. Okay. Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion passes. There are no additions to the agenda. Next item will be a closed session for the purpose of pending litigation. I'll need a motion to go into closed session for pending litigation pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2C11.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Chandra, seconded by Mary Alice. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Wu.
Yes.
Mr. Evans.
Yes.
Ms. Hersey.
Yes.
Ms. Colasetti.
Yes.
Ms. Bishop.
Yes.
Ms. Wilkin.
Yes.
Mr. Quisenberry.
Yes.
Mayor Marlin.
Yes. So we'll be, for the public's information, we'll be heading into closed session. When we return from closed session, we'll continue this special council meeting, deal with the action items coming out of committee last week, and then there will be a second meeting tonight, which is the regular committee of the whole. Thank you. Okay, we'll need a motion to come back into open session.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Jaya, seconded by Mary Alice. Will the clerk call the roll?
Ms. Wu.
Yes.
Mr. Evans.
Yes.
Ms. Hersey.
Yes.
Ms. Colasetti.
Yes.
Ms. Bishop.
Yes.
Ms. Wilkin.
Yes.
Mr. Quisenberry.
Yes.
Mayor Marlin.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is public input and presentations. We don't have any presentations scheduled. We can take public input now. If anyone wishes to address the Urbana City Council, please step up to the microphone. State your name for the record, and you'll have up to 5 minutes to speak.
Yeah, good evening, everyone on the council and everyone else. My name is Nakeeb Mansouri. I live in Urbana, and I'm a resident physician at Carl. I just wanted to speak on behalf of the Hotel Royer and the issue with that. Just wanted to say, you know, as a physician at Carl, I encounter a lot of other of my colleagues that are coming from out of town, sort of temporarily to work. Travel nurses, locum physicians, things like that. And often just from talking with them, I find out that they usually tend to stay in hotels or other, short-term accommodations in Champaign, Savoy, nearby towns like that. Very rarely do I hear them say that they're staying anywhere in Urbana. And I just think that, if we have another option in downtown Urbana, close by to the hospital, it would be a very good option for them to be able to stay, and so that I think it would support our town and be a really good boost and to our local economy as well. So those are my thoughts on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to address the Urbana City Council? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on.
I have a couple to read.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
The first is from Teresa Mickelson, who's a resident of my ward. Dear council members, I write to urge you to vote in favor of the budget amendment that contains funding for an incentive program to retain the officers in the Urbana Police Department and also assists in Urbana's ability to attract new officers. Cities of our side are all fighting for the same talent pool, and we need to be able to attract those individuals and keep the officers we have. The last vacancy number for the department that I heard was 8 officers, a large number given that due to illness and approved leaves, the department is never at full complement in the best of times. Public safety is one of the priorities of the council. Understaffed police departments cannot do the job they are hired to do. I do feel that several council members have been less than supportive of our police department. I would hope that none of those individuals choose once again to show their disrespect by voting against this amendment. I also urge you to support the increased funding for HR staffing. This is the department that is doing the hiring for the large number of vacant positions in the city. I've heard that there are as many as 45 open positions. I also know personally of 3 excellent staff who moved to Champaign in the past year for higher salaries. It's easy to talk about loyalty and dedication, but in this inflationary time, the salaries and the retention bonuses that the city is able to offer will make a difference. As a comparison, the Urbana District number 116 recently raised the daily fee for substitutes in order to be competitive in that area. There is something to be said for adequately compensating employees. Thank you for your attention on this matter. And then I also have one from Steve and Kenita Fay. And it reads, "Good evening. First, happy fall break. We also would like to thank you for your service and particularly for your vote for the school resource officers earlier this year. Special thanks to Councilmember Bishop and Evans for visiting our high school. In light of threats of school shootings, we encourage you to support the Urbana Police Department in offering competitive compensation packages so we will be able to hire the most qualified police officers. We are certain that you have been informed of the police shortage in our neighboring city. Again, thank you for your time and have a wonderful break." Thank you.
Any other communications? Grace?
I just want to say that we did receive some other emails. Those are the only ones I saw that specifically asked to be read aloud, but all of the ones that we received will be in the minutes and in the printed ones for anyone else. And if anyone in the future would like them read aloud, please just note that in your comments.
Okay. We'll move on to council input and communications. Anyone have anything to share tonight? Grace?
Thank you. Just wanted to highlight some news of an upcoming event that we just received about the Learman Garden / possible redevelopment site. And that is Thursday, December 1st at 6:30 at Foursquare Church, 2101 East Washington. And that will be the opportunity to provide public input on rezoning for anyone who's following that issue. Thank you.
Any other announcements? James?
I realize this isn't about what's in this special meeting of the City Council, but it'll come up later. I just wanted to mention that I did receive a number of communications about the Hotel Royer, and I'd say about half of them, maybe a little bit more, were from downtown businesses in support of the impact that doing that extension to ensure that we have that resource as early as August, that people were in support of it. I didn't receive any against it.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to reports of standing committees. And that would be a report by Councilmember Evans.
Thank you. On behalf of the Committee of the Whole, I would like to skip the consent agenda as I don't see anything on it and go to the regular agenda. I'd like to make a motion for ordinance number 2022-11-045, an ordinance revising the annual budget ordinance, budget amendment number 4, omnibus, and I would like to make a motion that that be approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Evans, seconded by Mary Alice Wu. Discussion. Grace?
Thank you. I appreciate everyone's attendance and participation who shared your opinions with us on email or in person. This is an interesting one, I think. I support the support for our staff and especially developing HR department so we can have the staff we need to do the jobs that are very important. As far as the incentives, I understand the need for being competitive and keeping and recruiting quality individuals. I hope that this will be remembered, and especially this amount of money can be held as somewhat of a comparison when we're looking at other efforts and things that we want to support. And so I hope that there's also support and understanding in the future if we're asking for anything extra transparency or accountability, that I hope that this can set a precedent for some give and take and mutual support with the public and the city and the police department. Thank you.
Any other discussion? James?
Yeah, I just wanted to speak to supporting passage of this. I am familiar with a lot of the challenges with hiring these days in my day work, and I think the steps described here are, when looking at what the market in Champaign County with our neighboring cities, the county, the U of I, this is necessary to be competitive if we want to have a fully staffed police force. And I think, we don't have a police force that is overstaffed to begin with, and with people being out for illness, for injuries, for other reasons, being seven people down, 8 people down, means that we're always pushing our staffing. And I think we would all agree that it doesn't help to have a workforce that is stressed out by doing frequent overtime, and it's a hard and challenging job to begin with. So I think we need to take this action. We need to close this gap on our staffing. We need to get back to full staff so that the normal ebb and flow of vacation and illness can be managed, as opposed to just barely squeaking by. I also believe very strongly that in order to help our staff and move forward on the restaffing of Urbana post-pandemic, the 45 positions or so that were mentioned earlier, you're all familiar with being on an airplane, the idea that you need to put your mask on first before you help someone around you. Helping our HR staff get to a place where they can move forward on bringing more people to this community to work for us and the citizens of Urbana is an important step, and therefore I will be supporting it. Thank you.
Chandra?
As Grace said, $1 million is a lot to the police department, and not what I came here to spend money on, but unfortunately this is something the city has to invest in. We have to invest in our current officers and invest in recruiting quality candidates. We talk a lot about safety and crime, and we need to ensure that there are enough officers to respond. I also want the public to keep in mind that these incentives aren't going on forever. June 2024, it will sunset unless it's renewed and members of the council decide to renew it. We're committed to ensuring that our values be reflected in our spending. So I, for one, am making sure we will that we'll be funding things that our residents will be funding things moving forward that allow our residents to thrive. So even though I will likely be supporting this measure, that doesn't mean that I'm in opposition to funding other things that will make our community residents more resilient going forward. Thank you.
Any other comments? All right, will the clerk please call the roll? And just as a note, this will take 6 of 8 votes because the mayor votes on this one.
Ms. Wu,
Yes.
Mr. Evans,
Yes.
Ms. Hersey,
Yes.
Ms. Colacetti,
Yes.
Ms. Bishop,
Yes.
Ms. Wilkin,
Yes.
Mr. Quisenberry,
Yes.
Mayor Marlin.
Yes, that motion passes. Thank you all.
The next item is resolution number 2022-11-086R, a resolution estimating the tax levy for fiscal year 2022 to 2023. And I make a motion that we pass this resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Chris Evans, seconded by Jaya Colacetti. Discussion. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Wu?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Hersey?
Yes.
Ms. Colacetti?
Yes.
Ms. Bishop?
Yes.
Ms. Wilkin?
Yes.
Mr. Quisenberry?
Yes.
That motion passes.
Next item is ordinance number 2022-11-046, an ordinance amending the Urbana City Code, Chapter 3, Section 3-43, maintaining the number of Class R&T 2 liquor licenses for Colebrook Enterprises LLC, DBA The Courier Cafe, 111 North Race Street in Urbana, Illinois, and I make a motion this ordinance be passed.
Second.
Moved by Chris, seconded by James. Any discussion? Just as a reminder, this maintains the same number of Class R and T2 liquor licenses. It reflects the change in ownership of the Courier Cafe. And this is for beer and wine sales only. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Wu?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Hersey?
Yes.
Ms. Colacetti?
Yes.
Ms. Bishop?
Yes.
Ms. Wilkin?
Yes.
Mr. Quisenberry?
Yes.
That motion passes. Thank you, Chris. Reports of special committees, there are none. Reports of officers, seeing none. There is no new business, so with no further business before this special city council meeting, we are adjourned, and this will be followed by the regular committee of the whole.